I'm Kusha Karvandi, and you're listening to Exerscribe Radio, the source for biohacking your health to reach your full potential. I created Exerscribe to provide people with a roadmap to working out. With our new workout app, you can get a custom workout program that adapts your workouts to your body type, goals, sleep quality, stress levels, and personal preferences. With live chat support, our workout app has become so comprehensive some call it a personal trainer in your pocket. Our users are seeing over 90% success rates with their goals because we take the neural approach to fitness, meaning we integrate movements and exercises that recalibrate your brain and body to prime you for rapid strength gains and fat loss. Check out the Exscribe workout app in the iTunes App Store today. In today's podcast, I interview Gary Gray. Gary Gray is the originator and developer of many nationally acclaimed educational programs, including the Chain Reaction series of seminars. He is the recipient of the prestigious 2002 John Maley Award, which recognizes an individual for innovation in physical therapy. Referred to as Father of Function and the leading pioneer and authority in rehabilitation and training, Gary is a respected physical therapist, trainer, educator, author, coach, and successful inventor. He has transformed his functional and biomechanical understanding of the body into the most effective performance enhancement, injury prevention, and rehabilitative applications. Gary's passion for education and sharing, along with his innovation and desire, allows him to translate the complexities of human function into simple and effective techniques. Gary's goal is to enhance the lives of professionals and the lives of those they treat and train. Hey everyone, we're here on Exerscribe Radio with Gary Gray from the Gray Institute of Applied Functional Sciences. Welcome, Gary.
Hey, it's good to be here, Kusha. I enjoy being able to share with you today.
Awesome. So Gary, can you help the audience out, get to know about how you got into the fitness industry? When did it all begin?
Well, actually, for me, it began in 7th grade when I volunteered at a physical therapy clinic and had the opportunity to work with some stroke patients and some kids who had suffered spinal injuries, and kind of fell in love with the ability to try to kind of make their atmosphere fun, and kind of was one of those unique kids that even at 7th grade I knew that I wanted to get into what I would currently call the movement industry, but get people who currently aren't moving well and hopefully getting moving. And so that took me to a path of becoming a physical therapist, and then I took a path of becoming a personal trainer, became an athletic trainer, and then I became a strength coach, and kind of quickly realized that we're all kind of doing the same thing.
Exactly. That's great. That's awesome. I love that story. So tell me a little bit about the Gray Institute. How did that come about, and what do you guys teach exactly?
Well, it came about years ago when I started having the opportunity to teach seminars. I started teaching seminars, and believe it, in 1978. I don't think you were around back then. And we basically back then had a unique approach where we believed that the body was put together. As a physical therapist, I was trained very isolated. Somebody come in with back pain, we would just treat their back. Somebody have a ankle sprain, we just treat their ankle. Total knee, we just treat the knee. But I noticed that everybody seemed to be connected. The foot bone was connected to the knee bone was connected to the hip bone. So started studying the biomechanics because I knew that was my greatest weakness. Theoretically, as a physical therapist, I should have known how the body worked, but that's the one thing I did not know. Didn't have a clue what muscles really did, what joints really did, what nerves really did. So we began putting it together, and it seemed to fascinate people because I think everybody else noticed the same thing. You can't lay somebody down or and treat something and expect the human body to all of a sudden get up and move around and use everything integrated. So we began teaching what we called back then kinetic chain courses that turned into courses called When the Foot Hits the Ground, Everything Changes. The whole idea that when the foot enters into the ground, the body reacts all the way up to the head. And then started a series of seminars that are currently going. It's actually in its 26th year, called Chain Reaction. And when we started that about 26 years ago, that's really when the Gray Institute kind of formed, because we realized that as we were teaching, we were learning. And our dedication was to try to learn as much as we could before we died. That's kind of the ultimate goal. But in the meantime, hand it on to you youngsters and hand that information on. So applied functional science in reality is studying what we call the truth. We basically said that no matter what our certification in personal training was, or what our licensure of 8 years of physical therapy school was, or whether we went to school to become an orthopedic surgeon, whether we were a chiropractor, whether we were an athletic trainer, whether we were a strength coach, we decided to throw everything off the table and start from new. Because there's a lot of traditional stuff embedded in there that didn't have any meaning. You do something and you ask yourself, why did I do that? And we couldn't come up with good reason. So we started applied functional science, which is really the science of what we call the physical sciences, the biological sciences, and the behavioral sciences, which in reality, it's the world we live in, how our body really works, and what's deep inside us. So that's kind of in a nutshell, applied functional science.
That's awesome. So, one of the things that's really interesting is a lot of trainers are always really hell-bent on getting a certification that's accredited. What do you think about accreditation and that whole process? Does that really mean a whole lot when it comes to getting education?
No, again, I think you hit it. I think just the way you position the question, you already have the answer. A lot of times people want to get a job in certain areas and it requires a certain certification. I think that's the driver. And especially we have a number of people who take our gift program. It's a 40-week mentorship program. And we've had a number of them lately who have indicated that, in 40 weeks, we think we might have saved them 8 years of physical therapy school and a $300,000 bill. Which in some cases it's true. If they really didn't have the passion of being a physical therapist, they just simply had a passion of working with people and helping people and understanding movement, then taking the GIP program would be appropriate. If, however, they always wanted to be a physical therapist, or they were drawn to the fact that they wanted to have that licensure, or wherever they wanted to work required that certain license, or if they wanted to bill insurance, which at that time required to have a physical therapy license, well, then they were driven that course. So the sad state of affairs, sometimes what's driving us isn't what our desire is. In other words, we're not able to just say, if nothing else is out there influencing us, what is the best education possible for the purpose that I'd really like to serve my community?
Yeah, it's really a shame because I'm sure like I know, that even though a physical therapist or a doctor, they can reduce a lot of barriers for the consumer by billing to insurance. But in reality, we know that the things that you can do are probably much more effective than the standard care that a person can go and get. And so it's really unfortunate that the insurance companies really don't see that and are not really willing to work with that. In some cases they are, but overall I'm hoping that will change in the future.
Well, it's gradually changing. The problem is the insurance companies still win. And at the end of the day, insurance companies literally are telling doctors if they can or cannot do surgery. I mean, that's a pretty powerful position. They'll tell physical therapists whether they can see somebody or not, and if so, how many times they can see them. Again, it's, I don't want to get into the soapbox of how we've gotten ourselves in this position as a country, but we allowed the people with the money to make more money. And insurance companies will never lose money. They will always, we've just seen the last year or so with the quote-unquote new care, healthcare, that we're paying more for less insurance. And nothing happened except new laws were passed, and all of a sudden now the insurance companies will pass on their loss to, sadly, the consumer. So it's interesting, though. I think insurance companies have to realize that they're going to have to make a choice here very soon to determine who are the people who can give the best care and get the best done for their clients in the least amount of time. And they will have to go outside tradition. They'll have to go outside of the normal, even I as a physical therapist, we have therapists in our community that will, see a back patient and treat just a low back and put hot pack ultrasound massage on it for 4 weeks for 3 times a week and charge $150 a time. And all of a sudden, $2,000 later, the patient got nothing more than what they could have gotten at home. And that's a sad state of affairs where potentially that same patient could have come to you and you could have figured out through just watching them move potentially what exercises would be best for them. Even with your own tool, put in an exercise program online for them, and then all of a sudden empower them, and you did it for pennies. So it's got to change one way or the other. But in the meantime, we can't wait. We just got to give the best care we possibly can.
Awesome. I agree 100%. I like your perspective. I really also like how you guys offer a mentorship program in addition to certification, because I do feel like getting that one-on-one attention and that mentorship is really important. And that a lot of coaches do need a coach. So
Yep.
can you tell me more about that? What does that process look like with your mentorship program?
Well, actually, I like what you just said. I think every coach needs a coach. I think the older I get, the more I realize I need mentorship. In other words, I don't need to be the old guy mentoring. True mentorship really is friendship. We all kind of need a friend or a number of friends who come alongside us and help us through our responsibility of taking care of people. And I think having the privilege of taking care of others, whether they want to lose weight, have better posture, want to get rid of back pain, suffering from multiple sclerosis, it doesn't matter. Anything that inhibits their ability to move and enjoy life, it's a daunting task. And the more people we have come alongside us, the better off we are. So 8 years ago, we started a program called GIFT, G-I-F-T. It's called the Gray Institute for Functional Transformation. And it was designed initially to be an advanced degree program. We were going to partner with a college or a university, but we've found that they kind of had their own kind of what I would call agendas that kind of forced certain coursework, just even though it didn't make sense to anybody. Their answer to us is, well, this is kind of how we make money. This is how we pay our professors. So we at least need to throw these 5 or 6 courses in there. And Dr. Tiberio and I just simply said, nah, I think there's going to be probably 5 or 10 people out there in the world that have the same heart that we do, that really just wants to learn the right information for the right reason. No other agenda other than I want to be the best I can so I can make you the best you can be. So we started. It's a 40-week program, 3 times a year. The trainers come to Adrian, Michigan. In fact, we just got done with our Gift Gathering 3, which is their graduation ceremony. And when they graduate, it's kind of cool. They get to mention something, and every one of them mentioned what you just said, Kusha, the fact that having friends alongside and learning together and sharing together and having a resource when we're struggling, or even a resource to share our successes with, is really kind of the name of the game. And so we've designed our whole mentorship program around just bringing in the best people in the world. I think we have over 25 countries represented now. And just simply giving information that we think is the best in applied functional science. What do we know about the world that we live in? What does gravity really do? What does mass and momentum have to do with it? What's the biomechanics of the body? What's the neurology of the body? How's the body really put together, and how does it do what it does? And then what's deep inside, what drives all of us to either do something or not do something? So we've been very, I'd say, extremely blessed. Just over the last 8 years, we've had what we call a maximal amount of people in each course. And so the mentorship program, strangely enough for us, has been kind of selfish because we've learned more than we've taught. Dr. Tiberio and I were talking just yesterday or 2 days ago, and said it's kind of weird that over the last 8 years we've learned more than we've been able to share or teach, which I think that's the sign of a good mentorship program, where you let everybody come, everybody share, everybody leave your ego at the door, and everybody just have a good time trying to figure this out.
I love it. Well, I love exactly what you guys are doing. It seems like when it comes to these coaches and these trainers, more and more of them are getting into more of this digital age and switching from live one-on-one training, either in groups or one-on-one, and trying to start reaching people online, which I think is actually pretty cool to be able to be a coach or a trainer for somebody who might live on the other side of the world. What's your thoughts on this trend?
I think it's a great trend. I think there's so many people that need your help, that to be able to access your help online, and especially with the tools now, like right now, if I was having a problem and you said, well, tell me what's going on. And I said, well, Kusha, lately when I've been throwing, my shoulder's been bothering me. If you had the ability to just say, well, get back away from the computer, Gary, and if you could walk me through a few motions, And after walking me through a few motions, if you could, you would be able to look and say, you know, obviously no one can guarantee anything. Even if I was with you in person, I couldn't guarantee this. But it looks like the lack of extension in your hip is not allowing your shoulder to get loaded, and therefore your shoulder's being overused. So I'm going to load to you 3 or 4 anterior hip exercises that I think might really help you. And if nothing else, they'll help you walk, they'll help you move, but I really think they're going to help you with your throwing. And let's get together in maybe 3 or 4 days and see if your motion's not better, and then you can report to me whether or not your throwing's better. That's a pretty powerful tool. A lot of it has to do with knowing what you're seeing, knowing how to put the body together, because again, you have that visual. You know, you're just got this video, so you got to say, hey, you know, could you turn around and do this for me? Could you turn around and do that for me? And that's why I think the digital tools are really, really powerful. I know you've gotten a lot of good feedback on your Exerscribe from a lot of people who go, hey, this is really cool. This is empowering me. It's very simple. You know, I log on, I got a workout right there. I get a good workout in. I don't have to go to the health club. It costs me literally pennies, you know, and so I think it's going to go that way more and more and more. We're actually have been working on a digital program to hopefully teach kids movement literacy, how to move, how to enjoy their body, how to understand you know, what their giftedness is, and realize that they're athletes, and to understand what to do with their athleticism. So I'm a huge proponent of using technology for the right reason. In this case, I think the right reason is if we can get other people healthier, it's a pretty good deal.
I love it. Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. I think it's a fantastic trend. The interesting thing about coaching is that, at least for me, I found that whenever I go and I get these advanced certifications and learn, you know, a bunch of this advanced science, when I come back, I feel like sometimes it's met with a little bit of psychological resistance with the clients, because, you know, there's like a certain type of finesse that you have to communicate it. You know, what do you think are some of the ways that you guys help your coaches overcome that communication barrier so they can apply the advanced stuff that you're teaching them?
Well, again, you hit it right on the nose. The information doesn't do us any good unless we can somehow communicate it to our athletes and to our clients. And again, a lot of it is what I call kind of not taking over. In other words, a lot of it is in getting your client and your athlete engaged in the process. We're coming out in a couple months with our own version of what we would call a functional movement screen. And the key to this particular movement screen, it's going to be called 3D MAPS, Movement Analysis and Performance System, is that immediately we engage the athlete, the client, to be a part of it. So they contribute to what's going on. It's not like you say, well, here, go do that, or lay on your back and lift your leg, or you don't become, you know, you don't become the driver of saying, I'm going to look at you and give you a number. It's, hey, let's look at you together. Let's figure out what your goals are. Let's figure out what I could really help you with today. And if you could help me kind of watch you move a little bit, then we together can decide what direction to go. Because at the end of the day, it is all about you. And the quicker we can communicate that we're not just applying these things because we just came back from a new seminar and we're trying to apply it, the quicker we communicate that we really care for them and we're going to do our best to help them with whatever their needs are, and the quicker we can make them a part of the process, not just the result of a number, or just, you know, sometimes it just kind of drives me nuts. We're the examiner, you're the examinee. You know, I'm going to look at you and you're going to get on all fours and point like a pointer dog, or you're going to, you know, try to scratch your back, and I give you a number, and then at the end of the thing, I'm done. And you kind of, as the person going, you're done with what? What did we just do? You'd have no clue what was going on or the purpose, because it didn't smell like what you like to do. It didn't feel like you want to do. We always teach our gift fellows that get them into the movements that they tell you they already enjoy. If you're a golfer and I'm going to evaluate you, it's less than 3 seconds that you're doing motions that remind your body of golf. As soon as you realize that I know what the heck I'm doing, and then I'm taking you down the journey that you want to be on, then our relationship becomes very strong. If you come and tell me, hey, listen, you know, I'm a tennis player, and the first thing I do is put you on the ground and lift your leg up, or like I say, do a long reach sit test, or do a pointer dog test, or see if you can contract your abdominals, or do something that has absolutely nothing to do with function, let alone tennis, you lose me. And they won't say that. They won't say, hey, I don't think you know what you're doing. But down deep, they will. Down deep in their heart, they'll go, I'm not sure why I'm doing this. This makes no sense. So engage, 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 listen, listen, listen. Love, 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 share, 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 be honest, be honest, be honest. It's some commonsensical things, but we're all the same. You kind of learn these new techniques and you're all excited about going back, trying them. You just kind of, you kind of want to try them. You almost force them on the person without going, gee, does this person really need that? I made that mistake years and years ago when back in the late 70s, I learned a lot about foot orthotics. Of course, as you can imagine, most people who came to me all of a sudden needed foot orthotics. And again, it's just, I call it a rookie year. My heart, I think, was in the right spot, but my head was up my butt, so to speak. I thought I had a great tool for somebody, and I thought it applied to most people. And it took me a while to realize that, this technique they may not need, this tool they may not need, this exercise they may not need. I got to figure out what they believe they need, and I can help them with that.
That's awesome. I love it. I love the stories. What would you say have been some of your best client success stories with some of your own personal clients over the years?
Actually, some of my best have been my best failures, and I've had a lot of them. And I realized that early on that I can't. First of all, I don't believe I can heal anybody. I don't believe I can save anybody, and I don't believe I can teach anybody. I believe I can create an environment where the healing can take place. I believe I can create an environment where the saving can take place. And I believe I can create an environment where the learning can take place. But I quickly realized that very early on in the 70s, I had the most awesome stroke patient, this dear lady, young lady who had suffered a stroke. She was a great bowler. She was a great golfer. And I know me and my team did everything in our power to bring her back to normalcy. And I know we didn't even come close. And I quickly realized that I can't heal her brain. I can't go in there and restore what happened in the stroke. But I could create an environment where I could let her know that she was loved and she was cared for, and we'd work our butt off to do whatever we could to get her as functional as possible. And as I realized, if you looked at it objectively, it was a total failure. But when I look at it and the picture of it all, just knowing that was in the 70s, just knowing that I got to see this dear lady a couple weeks ago, and she literally, in her cane, hobbled up to me and gave me a big hug and kiss. And I realized, okay, that's success. And because, again, in spite of us, a lot of times my patients get better. So I'm very careful not to take credit for that, because sometimes it just could be that they just healed. So I would say my best successes have been what most people on the outside would consider significant failures.
That's awesome. I love that perspective and that analogy, and actually, I think that a lot of people can relate to that. I think I get a sense that even with how experienced you are, you're still an eternal student. So it actually kind of sparks another question of, where do you get a lot of your information from? How do you continue to inform yourself and stay on the cutting edge?
Well, I like that phrase, eternal student. You might steal that one, but I'll give you credit. It really is what our goal is, because when we understand we're trying to deal with this human body and how it does what it does, I mean, it's just a marvel to me. And I believe we probably know only 5 or 10% of what we really need to know to be really good at this. But, hopefully if I'm an eternal student, I'll learn maybe 7 or 8% before I die. But that really, I think, I really expect a lot of my patients and clients, if we create an environment together and they're willing to say, yeah, I definitely want to get better, I kind of expect them to put the work in. And if I do a great job of putting together a home program, we call it home playable. So it's motivating, it's engaging, it gets them to where they want to go. But I really expect a lot out of them. I think they should expect a lot out of me too. I think they should expect me to study almost every day, something. They should expect me to read something, or in today's day and age, just get online and watch a webcast from somebody who in the movement industry, or even not even the movement industry, in the industry of motivation. There's so much out there. And so I think, I think us to kind of look in the mirror in the morning, it's like, okay, have we gutted it out today to benefit our patients and clients? Sometimes I think we get to the point where we get the certification, we get the degree, and now, okay, I'm already smart, I already got it, I don't need to learn anymore. That's the kiss of death. That's, that's again, first of all, I don't agree with it, but that's when people all of a sudden get burned out, and you go, well, when's the last time you've been to a good seminar? When's the last time you got online and learned something? When's the last time you asked a friend come over and just share with you, their perspective? When's the last time you just simply called somebody up and say, hey, I really need your help. I don't understand this. Can you tell me more about how, this influences that? And so a lot of, I'm a kind of a pretty big reader. I like to access a lot of motivational things, a lot of coachee stuff. I'm a big fan of coaches. My favorite was John Wooden. So I have every one of his books, and I'll read his books. I had the privilege of having breakfast with him once, and that was like, for me, kind of sitting next to the superstar of all superstars. And plus, as indicated, what's really surprised me, it shouldn't have surprised me, but our gift fellowship includes 80 people. Well, I realized the first year that all 80 of them knew a lot more than I did about a lot of stuff. And so we create an environment where we learn from them. And so that's been a powerful way for us to learn over the last 8 years, where we have people just like yourself who have gifts in a bunch of different areas that I don't have a clue in. But if I start asking enough questions and you start sharing with me and we identify the truth, and we can transform the truth into strategies, and the strategies turn into techniques, then all of a sudden I go, whoa, not only did I learn a lot, but I have a lot of options now that I didn't have before. So I love the kind of the eternal aspect that I love. That's a great phrase.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, and the one thing you said that I really like is the idea of sharing, because I think so many trainers, especially people who know a lot, I think as a defense mechanism, they try to isolate themselves and not share anything they know, because they think that's going to like make them less competitive and hurt them, especially within the four walls of their gyms. And I think that's such a mistake. I think that I watch a lot of these Dr. Bruce Lipton videos, and he talks a lot about kind of the evolution of the human race. We need to share and we need to collaborate more if we want to progress, if we want to get to that next level. So I agree with you 100% that sharing is so important, especially in this space where things are changing so rapidly. We're gaining such new insights and information every day to how the body actually works. I think sharing is critical.
Yeah, but as you know, it takes a little effort. Just you putting this together and being kind enough to ask me to be a part of this. This is a form of sharing, but it takes some effort. It takes a little bit of work. Plus, you just got to understand that at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. If we can share and encourage, that's probably the two greatest gifts we can give somebody: share of our time and our talents and just our treasure, but just encourage each other. And the more you hold it back, the more you isolate it, the more you protect it. Again, you almost know that personality of that person. They're kind of needy, they're kind of greedy, and you go, boy, just lighten up. Life's way too short. In applied functional science, we teach that there's truth, that there's strategies that emanate from the truth, and of course, then there's techniques. So in the early mid 70s, we came up with the truth of the matter is that the body moves in 3 planes of motion. So strategically, everything we do is 3D. Every muscle functions 3D, every joint functions 3D. And therefore, there's very little things that we don't do 3D. Therefore, our techniques look much different than a lot of people. Well, we wanted to begin to share that very early on and realize that was kind of a lot of fun. Another truth that we believe in is that we as human beings are going to die soon. You're going to die soon. I'm going to die soon. You might live to be 80, but that's still soon. And so what's the strategy? Well, the strategy is let's do something worthwhile while we're here. Let's hopefully inspire as many people as we can. Like you say, share with as many people we can, because the more we share, the more they then can, as we say, take the baton on and help more people. And boy, this world's tough enough the way it is right now, let alone not having a lot of people trying to help you out. So we're kind of dedicated towards doing whatever we can possibly do to share the information and let other people then share it and empower and encourage and enrich other people's lives, because it's all about sharing, as you indicated.
Yeah. I remember seeing a quote somewhere once that said something along the lines of, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. So I think that. So I think that you're absolutely right. That I think everyone needs to understand that you gotta work together and you have to learn from each other and share. Yeah. So Really, really good stuff today. I mean, I love the stuff that you're doing. Love the mentorship, and I love the certification program and your philosophies. But one thing I always ask, everyone who's on the show is, there's so much information that's out there that I think even the audience that listens into this show, I think it's easy for them to get kind of lost. So I always ask, what's one simple thing that you would recommend that our listeners start with today to improve their fitness or their functional fitness in this case?
Well, again, to increase your functional fitness, you have to ask yourself, functional fitness for what? As you know, and I think I've been as guilty as anybody else. We've kind of confused the word function and fitness. I think I've confused both words over my career, and you have to, on one hand, you have to have a selfish selflessness. Would be a great strategy. What I mean by that is, ask yourself, what do you want to be functionally fit for? And hopefully part of that is that you want to serve others. But hopefully part of that is that you want to play with your grandchildren more. You want to be able to walk without back pain. You want to be able to play golf and actually improve your game. You want to be able to tolerate sitting at a desk and then get up and enjoying the evening by being able to move. You want to be able to control your weight. You want to have good posture so you're not all crumpled up when you get older. You want to prevent heart disease. All the stuff that I would call, that's good selfish stuff. But it's functional fitness for what? And I would say those who are trying to discern what's right or not is to basically ask themselves, whatever I'm getting ready for, hopefully that whatever I'm exercising or I'm going through a flexibility program for, or I'm strengthening program, it should smell and look like it. In other words, we have our own golf certification program, and there's another golf certification program out there, and people always ask, can you tell me the difference? And I said, I think I can tell you the difference real easy. And both programs believe that the core is very important, but the one program lays you down on your back and has you raise your leg, and you lower your leg and you contract your abdominals to determine if you have good abdominal strength. But they forgot to ask the question, for what? Okay, in this case, it's for golf. So we would look at that and go, does that look like golf? Is that the position of golf? Are those the planes of golf? Is that the chain reaction of golf? Is that the neurological reaction of golf? And so far, we're 0 for 98. Where we would say, if we're going to check your core, we would actually get you up and we'd take you through the 3 planes of motion, but we'd get you in the transformational zones of golf. So as you were stretching, somebody would be able to look at you and go, boy, it looks like you're getting ready for golf. You're right. If I'm doing some strengthening, it says, looks like you're strengthening for golf. You're right. If you're doing some power exercises, it looks like you're powering up for golf. You're right. If you're even doing endurance exercises, you wouldn't all of a sudden get on the bike or the elliptical. You'd be doing things that would actually flow through the motion of golf. So I would say to discern all the stuff that's out there, I always say become Pooh Bear. One of my favorite characters is Pooh Bear. Pooh Bear is a bear, very little brain but big heart. And he doesn't get confused by much. So years ago when he was put on a Cybex machine, he asked, why am I doing this? And they go, well, because it costs $40,000 and it's an objective test. But he was way too smart of a bear to fall for that. He says, but this is not what the leg of a Pooh Bear does. In fact, the quadriceps doesn't extend the knee. The hamstring doesn't flex the knee. I certainly never use my leg while I'm sitting on this stump. I like to actually be up and move around and play tug of war with Eeyore and play hop games with Rabbit and go around the whole forest with Christopher Robin. And you kind of scratch your head and say, that sounds kind of dorky, but in a way that's not too dorky because sometimes it's so obvious whether or not you're on the right track or not. So if I had a recommendation for people who want to engage in programs or are currently in programs, especially professionals who are going to decide what direction to go to learn how to empower other people, sometimes take a step way, way back and say, does this look, does this feel, does this smell, does this taste like what they want? Because at the end of the day, it's what they want. It's what their body needs that we're basically in charge of getting it done. So I would say take a step back and see if it looks like the real Gidget.
I love it. I like the analogy with Pooh Bear too. That was great. Good visual. So, where can the audience learn more about you?
We have a website, grayinstitute.com. Our big kids program that we're upgrading hugely is a thing called Free to Play. It's F2pacademy.com. I think within the next year or so, that's going to be probably what we'll probably be most known for. Like you say, we have certifications. We have our mentorship program. The class is pretty close to being full for next year. We'll have a new certification I know you're really going to enjoy coming out. That's a movement assessment certification that all of a sudden makes sense to movement, and it's functional. And so we're pretty excited about that. So you can learn a lot more about us. Starting in January, we'll actually have we're putting all our resources, again, talk about sharing. We're going to put every one of our resources online so people can access it very quickly. So if you're trying to figure out what's the applied functional science approach to treating scoliosis, you'll easily be able to go to grandinstitute.com, click on scoliosis, and say, wow, this is different than what I learned. And hopefully it's different because we believe it's based on the truth. So you can learn a lot more about us at grandinstitute.com. Yeah, I can already guarantee you we're going to be able to see each other soon, and I already can anticipate we're going to be good friends. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate all you're doing. I appreciate your online resource, and I just biggest thing I can do as an old guy talking to a young, good-looking guy there is keep up the great work, because you're making us all proud. So simply keep it up.
If you haven't already, get your custom workout program by downloading the Exerscribe app from the iTunes App Store today.